I'm in. I opened it up and then on the screen, it said waiting for meeting host. So I went and signed in and then I put in all Grace's passwords and an email and I came up. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no problem. At least there's, oh, good. I know, and I'm having, I guess Historical Commission is the other committee who's been having trouble. Well, I'm gonna log them in, so. Yeah, I know, and we can't, well, it's double, it's the Zoom itself putting in new layers of security. And it's also this account, we have no password. I mean, we have no real email for. So. And you make sure to make somebody the co-host. All right. There. You're good and you're gonna have, nice. Have a good meeting, Linda. I'm gonna leave, but if you have trouble, text me. I gotta get to my mom soon. Okay, good. Take care. Bye.
Hi, Susan. There you go. Okay, and I think Susan Gomberg is coming now.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Yay.
I want you all to know, this is Susan Millinger speaking. This is National S'mores Day.
Oh, right.
Yes, you saw that. You saw it in the MCOA news brief, right?
Yes, you know, I read the thing to the very end.
Yes, me too. I thought it was really jazzy that, you know, it was the Girl Scouts.
Very important announcement, right?
Yes. We'll start our meeting with.
I not read it.
Well, so since we're all here, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. And
Is Jeanette joining us?
I sent her the link,
Okay.
and so we'll see. I'll be able to tell when if she comes along.
Okay.
So shall we just say who we are for the record?
For the record, Joanne Bernhardt.
Susan Gomberg.
Janice Gray.
Susan Millinger.
Linda Ava Scott.
Martha Favre.
Okay, here we are. Okay, so shall I just go ahead, Joanne?
Please, the first order of business, I think, is the financial update.
actually, we have the minutes first.
Yeah.
Oh, the minutes. Oh, there they are. Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found one little thing that I missed yesterday, Susan, sorry. So.
Okay, what is that one little thing? Or
Miss
you want
Laura,
to
what's
email
the
it to me?
process?
and
Do we open discussion or do I say what it is?
If it's,
So what it
if
is.
it's a, is it a friendly amendment?
Do we have to have a motion to amend first before we have an
First,
amendment?
well, if it's.
I'm
a-
confused, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you, if it's a friendly amendment, meaning if it's very minor, we just
Yes.
make it and then we can move to accept as presented. We don't have, if it's very minor, it's just, you know,
I can, like, a missing letter, I can tell Susan Millinger
a
later.
missing letter, you can
Add it,
tell her
but-
now, yes, but that's so minor that, you know, it's not gonna affect the content.
But you may be wondering what it is, and all it is on the second paragraph on page 2. It says the first quarter of FY3. It's missing the 2. I missed that.
Good catch,
I obviously did too.
me
Yeah.
too.
Okay, but
That's all.
before you vote on these, you need to know that this afternoon I sent out a revision of the draft with some minor changes.
Yes,
That's what I was seeing. That's when I saw the missing 2, which is already there, and I missed it twice. So,
thank you, Susan. So is everybody good with having reviewed the most recent draft?
I haven't reviewed the most recent draft.
I have not either.
No, Susan, can you just tell us what the amendments, what the changes were?
Well, no, I can't offhand. There were one was that I had included information about Sally's interview, which came from information after the meeting. So that was
Mhm.
pointed out to me. I subtracted that reference to Sally doing the interview later. And the other changes, there were, 3 or 4, maybe half a dozen changes. They were all stylistic. They didn't
Okay.
affect the content at all.
Okay,
And
yeah.
and I have to say that Janice, the things that Janice saw were on the level of too many spaces.
Mhm.
Okay,
So nothing significant
right,
there.
it wasn't the content, it was just the start of a new paragraph, had an extra space in front of it is all.
okay, okay. So if everybody's good, we could have a motion.
Wait a minute, to accept the minutes as amended?
Yeah, as presented, because it was
As
just,
presented. Okay. I move that we accept the minutes of the 7/27/22 meeting as presented.
Ms. Gomberg, I second that.
okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Okay, Bernhard, aye.
Gomberg, aye.
Gray, I.
Millinger, aye.
And Scott, aye. So the thing is, just for clarity, we made that, Janice had that tiny correction, which didn't affect content, and she did it before we moved, so it's made the motion, so that's why we could do it that way. Okay. Now, financial and foot clinic updates. So there's no, the only financial change at this point in the month is that I did pay, as we agreed, this MCOA dues. So that's been done. And I don't have any foot clinic updates. Do you, Susan Gomberg?
I do not.
Okay. So there we are.
Okay.
Okay. And the next item on our agenda is Village Neighbors update, but there's no one here. So we'll just wait and we can come back to that if Jeanette comes. And then now, the big topic, which is our newsletter.
I really, this is Bernhard, I really want to congratulate Janice on getting this whole thing out in its 8-page format. so quickly and so beautifully. So thank you, Janice.
Thank you. At some point, I have a couple of observations to throw out at you guys, but I can wait to see what you have on your own.
Well, I have the same feelings and observation that it's a very thorough, complete, informative, and easy to read newsletter.
Yeah.
Susan Millinger?
Blomberg, I totally agree with all of that. I found it, even though I'm aware of the issues being presented, I read them all avidly. I thought they were presented so clearly, and I especially loved the happy feet heading. I thought that was so sweet.
I didn't know what to call it, so it popped into my head. So Susan M had something to say.
I also, first of all, I want to say, I also thought it's excellent. There's absolutely no doubt that it's excellent. I also had two other things to say. One was just a personal response. Gosh, it's overwhelming. I mean, but I realized with the amount of information we wanted to present, we needed to go to 8 pages. But it just, for me as a reader, it was kind of overwhelming. And Kevin's article is definitely overwhelming.
Well, that's one of the things I want to bring up. If we're at that point.
Martha, did you have any observations you want to share?
I thought it was great. I read it last night and I thought all that information was really useful. The that radio program, I'd like more information about that, the books that people are reading. And yeah, I found the information from Kevin. That was, that's I don't know whether it might need a little more explaining, but it was, you did a nice job getting all that information down, Janice.
Okay, so now can I address?
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, hang on
exactly
a second. Before you do, I had a second comment.
Okay.
And that was a little detail comment. And there were 3 ways in which Village Neighbors offer services that are related to what we included in this newsletter. And I don't know if there's a way to include it or if you want to or not. One is that Village Neighbors will pick up groceries for people.
You have to be a
Village
member.
Yeah, you have to be a member, but if you are a member, Village Neighbors will pick up your groceries or they will take you grocery shopping.
Okay.
Another is that Village Neighbors offers small home repairs for free.
For
Right.
members.
For members. These are all for members. Absolutely. These are all for members.
Right.
And the third, oh boy, I hate to say this, but I'm beginning to forget what the third service is that relates to what we were talking about. Martha, what's the something else that Village Neighbors does that we talked about in the newsletter?
They'll do, one thing they do is they'll do, what do you call it? Call-ins to people, check-ins.
And what I was thinking of is that they will take you to medical visits.
Yes, they
medical
will.
appointments.
Yes.
Since we cannot currently provide that service, that's helpful. Again, this is all for members. So
Right.
maybe you don't want to include it for that reason.
Well, I was trying to figure out where to put things and trying to group them logically.
Yes.
And so let me, I could probably, if I take out some graphics, I might be able to stick in or shrink some graphics. I might be able to stick those into the grocery shopping thing where we mention somebody else does grocery shop, both do groceries for you. I don't remember who. Oh, Life Path. And I don't know, but and the other thing is this. Sorry, I managed to spill some seltzer on this, but the last page, there's this thing on Village Neighbors there with seltzer water that was basically just was picked up from the last one, and I could mention. It says it offers simple services, the transportation and activities. I could expand that to talk about these things. or I don't want to take up too much of your time trying to figure out how I would get these things worked in. But for example, because this was a draft, remember? Okay. And what I had said is I put in everything that you told me to say, and then we could decide what we're going to take out. And one of the things, anyway, I might be able to put a little asterisk like I did under the Amherst Survival Center, which is in there in 2 different capacities, as a food pantry and as a meal program. I could do something to see also Village Neighbors page 8 or whatever. So I can work it in somehow.
Yeah, I would think it would be cleaner. The food shopping I can see putting in earlier because there's another reference. But I would think that it's because you mentioned transportation and other services, it would be easy to say transportation as, for example, to medical appointments or shopping. And services could include simple home repairs, free.
But also, we can also say, call for more information about what's available.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is
say call.
This is Bernhard here. I peripherally, my husband and I had dinner with some people on Sunday who are more connected to LifePath. And they said that LifePath is woefully understaffed and that they are behind like 4 to 6 months.
Oh, my word.
With their services. So maybe reduce LifePath a little bit if you need to get more in on Village Neighbors, which is more immediately appropriate for Shutesbury. Very sadly so. And I also saw Noor's position advertised. This is a parenthetical remark.
Yeah, we knew he had left.
I know he left, but I just saw it in the Gazette advertised.
Oh, how about that?
If anyone wants to go for that.
So can we get back to this?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was
So
just saying.
our agreement last time had been, this is Grace speaking, by the way, I'm realizing, keep forgetting to do that. Our discussion last time had been, since it did not look like we would have a nice feature article about the police chief, that the tax article should be the first piece in the newsletter, and I don't think it belongs there.
I agree.
But I did what we said we would do.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't really say that we'll include indefinite modifications. I mean, like, okay, so here are some of the changes. What do you do about them if you are a homeowner? So there's something missing there. But I took what he did and I took the headline that he provided and I just ran it because that's my job, sort of. I mean, originally all I was going to do was the layout. So I would like to put this piece somewhere inside, but I don't know where, and what you'd like to see on the front. The other thing I want to just explain in case people are wondering is that this is what the last one looked like. I'm not going to try to do any screen sharing except this old fashioned way. So this is the last newsletter that we had, and you'll see that Sally had, you know, a 1-column thing for the opening article, and I repeated that, or I was going to, but this takes up a lot more space than columns.
Sure.
And she also had justified text, meaning it runs all the way to the margin on each side, which is the old way the linotype newspapers would do it, but we aren't in that age anymore, and it takes up a lot of space. And readability studies that I used to have to go over at Channing Beat, it's harder to read this kind of text. So that's why I changed the formatting so it's 2-column and ragged right, because it's easier to read, it takes less space. So that's just an explanation for that. Otherwise, the font size, the font choice, the leading, as they used to say in linotype, all of that is the same. So anyway, that was one thing I was wondering, what do we do about this article with Kevin? Can we move it inside? What would we prefer to have on the front? And I wasn't sure how to handle the library program, so I basically repeated what we did in the Our Town, in our column there. Not even mentioning that we sort of now support some of it. Maybe we should. And That's actually a website thing. So I think that was it. I just wanted, I was open to ideas. Oh, and the final point, and then I will stop talking. Besides, what do we do with this kind of eye glazing thing about all these clauses? What do we do with that? Do we put it somewhere else? Especially since we asked him to write it.
Yeah.
Is, I know we also had talked about, okay, you know, it's always been a 4-page newsletter. There was, and I said last time, there's so much stuff here, it's going to be more than 4 pages. But I would like to point out that as far as I know, and Linda would be the final authority on this, or rather Adams would be, an 8-page newsletter, which would be 2 ledger sheets, 8 to 11 by 17 sheets. Yeah, it's twice as much paper, but it's not going to be twice as much postage. And it
Correct.
probably isn't going to be twice as much printing either.
Correct, correct. And
So,
it's less
the
than
fact that-
having 8.5 by 11 shoved in.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a double the cost because it's double the size is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And I believe the reason we started talking about let's revive a paper edition is because we thought maybe we could once again, at least in our group, have a folding party again at town hall, socially distanced like we did with the survey. So that's why I would like to see us maybe go to 8 pages, but someone here, maybe more than one person here, has said it's kind of overwhelming. There's so much stuff. So that's my little pulpit editorial. I'm going to sit down and let you talk.
Thank you. Joanne?
I understand what you're saying about Kevin Rudin's contribution. It is extremely particular with all, and those are all the things that he brought up at town meeting. I wonder if maybe you could put some of it in and then continued on page, continued on another page. I think it's maybe there.
It's continued now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but maybe continue more of it.
Okay.
I'm just a suggestion, because I think the tax issue in Shutesbury, especially for seniors, is so important. And I would like to keep at least some of it or half of it or something on the front page, because I think that is something that people, especially seniors, will really relate to.
That could do.
In terms of their own, finances and tax issues. It was a big issue. It's always been a big issue at town meeting. And I think Kevin is trying so hard to get people to come to him and, go over their situations to see if there can be any reduction of taxes. It's really important to get that information out there, and I don't know that it's out there. Remember when we had, was it Leslie Lechonik and Jill Marlin, and bringing up these subjects to us, where we went line by line over the different kinds of tax issues with Kevin at a meeting, which was just, it was so great of Kevin to come and do that. And I think this is really an important issue for a lot of seniors. And I think people are still unaware of the fact that they can go to him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the minutia of the changes that he brought up at town hall or at town meeting could be on a separate page. I don't know, Janice, how it breaks down, and then that means rearranging everything. So I'm sorry,
Well,
but
it would be doable, and that's a good idea. In that, I think that your argument of why, even though this is kind of dry, it is a vital interest to a lot of people in town, and that's why we said let's put it on the front page.
Mhm.
I'd like to see. Maybe I need to call him and get a quote or something. Or Linda's raising her hand.
Yeah, I think your idea about a quote is great, Janice. And I also, in addition to all that Joanne put forth, also the fact that we had the meeting with Kevin resulted in his reviewing what exemptions we already had and bringing them all current with the, current statute. So that, was an offshoot of our being asked to look at the issue and then inviting Kevin, and then he went forward and brought what's available to us up to date to be sure we have the maximum benefits available. So yes, I agree that partway some of it has to be on the front page because.
And that would also, because in fact, I made it 2 columns, we can put another article on the front page and jump it somewhere too. And it wouldn't be that hard to rearrange things. I do this with the Our Town constantly.
Yes.
And Martha, who has some background in this sort of thing, is trying to say something.
Perfect. Martha, unmute yourself.
Sorry. Okay, so
Okay.
in regards to, I was looking at this article, Kevin's article, here, the article written by Kevin, and I don't see in it, maybe where, is it worthwhile putting a comment that, if further questions, to be able to call him with his number so that people know how to access him?
Good
That's
point.
what I was kind of
Yeah.
going at,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
And also, I think there are deadlines. I seem to remember there's an April deadline maybe for the, I'm not sure what, the people
Yes.
had to get their information in by a certain deadline in order to be considered.
Yeah.
So that might be another piece.
Yeah, so some kind of statement that says, for more information about applications and due dates, please call or email.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also wanted to add just about the overall content, and of course, about Susan Millinger's observation that that there's a lot and it's overwhelming. Well, of course, we're reading it all at once, and when folks receive it, they can take their time and read it.
Yeah. We don't read Our Town all at once either.
That's why I wanted it to be paper again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Susan,
Martha?
Well, Martha has something else she wanted to say before I go.
So it says Kevin Rudin, administrative assessor. I mean, do people know that he's the town administrator? Is it worth putting administrative assessor for Shutesbury so that people know
sure.
that he's specific for the town?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm writing that in.
thank you. Susan M.
Well, and I don't mean to suggest that we redo this ourselves, but it is unfortunate that Kevin couldn't have written sort of a short paragraph, just generally what the general issues are and the general impact on the population. And he didn't, and I don't expect Janice to do that. That's not her job.
Thank you.
But that is certainly a reason why. I mean, I hear you all saying how important it is to have part of it on the front page, and I accept those arguments as very, very accurate. But I would like to see us start with something that's a little bit more user-friendly. And my personal take is, besides, I just want to say I loved all the graphics that you added, as well as the snazzy titles. I liked the food, glorious food piece. And if other people agree, I would think that would be fun to have as part of good to have as part of the front page.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I heartily agree. I love that. I love that piece.
So can I ask a question just for clarity? So was Kevin, was he asked to give a quick synopsis as Susan Millinger just suggested? I don't know whether that was ever part of the initial conversation. I'm just curious.
I asked him if he would write an article for our newsletter. That's what I asked him to do. And he did. And I know he's extraordinarily busy. So I'm grateful that he took the time to prepare something for us.
I think
it could be different, but I'm, all things considered, you know. Yeah.
Well, this was pretty much what was in our town, Janice, right?
I actually was just looking at our town, and this is a lot more in detail. I was looking in the our town just now, the spring one, to see if he had said something about, I'm here to help you understand these things and blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing in there like that.
We can write that. We
Mhm.
can write that. I don't see why at the bottom of it or at the top of the art, at the beginning, that we could say something like COA note, Kevin is available to assist you. Please feel free to contact him by phone or email. I just, feel like we can say that. Why not?
Absolutely. And Kevin said that when he was with us. I mean,
Mhm.
he does want people to contact him.
Yep.
I mean, I think, Martha, what it is that, if you have a certain background, you're more accept the fact that you need to say something fairly clear and general for the general public. And I think, Kevin is approaching it as he's accustomed to approaching things.
I'd
Which-
like to see something replace that second paragraph, which basically says nothing, with something from him saying, there's a lot of information here. I don't, whatever, but I don't really be the one to write it. And I don't really want to be the one to ask him to write it.
Well, I think what Linda's saying is that we don't want to ask him to write anything because he's very busy. So, Linda, can you and I look at it and come up with some wording? This is Joanne speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now.
Mhm.
He says, when the assessor's office sends out reminders later this year to those already receiving exemptions, as well as putting a notice on the assessor's page on the town website, we'll include in-depth information about what's been modified or is being offered for the first time. So more information is coming. And,
Mhm.
I just, again, and if we can include, like I said, just a simple statement that says, that Kevin is available and, yeah, I'm happy to work on some language with you. I think it can be really simple.
Okay, let's just do that when you're not on official business.
I would be happy to add my 2 cents if you want to include me on that, or does that get difficult?
No,
in terms
go ahead.
of Committee
I
numbers.
mean, yep, no, how about if, Joanne and Susan can do it,
Okay,
if you.
Well, I liked what Linda said. I would just add maybe a little bit more to that. I was thinking in terms of, we all recognize these are complicated matters. And so feel free to contact Kevin, basically.
There you go. That's pretty
Okay.
much it.
Susan Millinger, you and I, I'll write something and send it to you, and you correct it and send it back to me. Okay.
Okay,
I
everybody.
make
good with that?
suggestions, not correct, but thanks, Joanne. That sounds fine.
Something
happy to
happened to-
Okay. So this is an opening paragraph, right?
Yeah, kind of a comment. I think
Uh-huh.
Linda suggested.
Yep, just COA note kind of thing.
COA note.
Something happened to Joanne, so Janice, so she's coming back now.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have, this is Joanne speaking. We have, we're going to add a little bit to the front of Kevin Rudin's article and have one column of Kevin Rudin's article and one column of the food, glorious food, right?
Wait, well, I don't know whether Janice was suggesting that it would be one column and one column, or would it be half a page and half
Well,
a page?
you don't
Makes
want it
more
to be,
sense.
well, this is a layout issue that it gets into the weeds. You don't want 2 stacked headlines right next to each other. So one, like if, let's say the lead is food, glorious food. Then we go down a little bit, we come up here and then we start with Kevin and jump the food here. So they're not stacked
Okay,
next to each other. So I don't know which one you want to be the lead article. I think the food one is certainly more interesting too, in some ways. But I think it is important to get that out. I'm sorry, I got knocked offline for some reason.
okay.
So I lost part of the conversation.
Well, all we did was decide that Susan Millinger and Joanne are going to come up with a little COA note,
Thank you.
and they will send it off to you.
Okay.
So I suggest that Janice that makes the decision about layout.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah. Everybody good with that?
yes, you're the pro.
So do we have any other observations or anything else that?
Sorry, this is Janice, not knowing what I missed. Did we
Oh,
make a
that's all. You
decision?
didn't miss anything else.
Okay, did we make a decision that we are going to try for, with the suggestions you've made already about village neighbors and reducing some of the life path stuff and so on? That we're going to try for 8 pages,
Yes,
or are we going to try to simplify it?
no,
No, I think, and this is Mellinger again, I think everybody's right that people are not going to read it through, sit down and read it through the way we did. And I think it's going to be wonderful reference material. I would expect people to keep a hold of it.
right.
And that brings me to the final thing that I'm aware of, that Joanne sent something out the other day from the Board of Health about COVID tests kits, that there's a lot of them in town.
Mhm.
And she was wondering if that should be added to the newsletter. And I don't know how long those are going to be available.
Right.
And, if they all disappear in the next couple of weeks, I kind of am getting nervous about being asked to put more and more and more stuff in here.
Right.
Okay.
Plus the Board of Health sent it out. So,
Mhm.
um,
Again, though, this is Joanne, again, we
Yeah.
have a lot of seniors in town without broadband. So when the
Right.
Board of Health sends something out,
yeah,
those people don't get the message.
you're right. You're right.
Maybe we could, I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry, I can't pull it up. Do less with LifePath right now, seeing as how they're so backed up. And just put in a few lines about check with the Board of Health for COVID tests that are still available. Janice Gray, this is Joanne. I'll look over the whole thing again. I'm sorry, I can't pull it
Yeah, I'm
up.
looking to see where that could go. Now my pages are out of order. I mean, it could get in there somewhere.
There's a little space between senior Medicare patrol and medical equipment loans. There's a little.
Oh, well, what I have to do is, those spaces, I'm trying to make them even,
Okay, got it. Got it. I see.
but I could take out the image of the feet and put something in there.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Hey,
make me
look,
cry.
this okay, suggestion for Millinger, if anything gets cut, I think it should be the senior medical patrol.
This is Bernhardt, I agree.
Okay, COVID tests, all right.
This is Gomberg. I think the thing from the Board of Health said that Grace would have the COVID test.
Okay,
And
Yes.
maybe at the farmer's market, which is where it's like, it gets squishy if people are gonna hold on to this thing for a long time.
Right.
That's Grace speaking, so,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you need to, I mean, obviously want to emphasize that this is just, we don't know how long the situation will last, that they'll be available.
Right. Oh, it's really like my page numbers didn't print. No wonder I don't know where I am.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
well.
interesting. They're in your, what you sent us.
Okay, maybe because I printed, sorry, I'm standing up and picking up papers falling on the floor. You got a PDF and I printed the publisher document, and maybe, and also maybe that the print margin on my printer wouldn't take that little tiny footer. So anyway, okay, so once I get these pages back in order, I made a note anyway to cut Massachusetts Senior Medicare Patrol, which is on our website, and put the COVID test thing and maybe move it up to wherever the beginning of the medical stuff is. So, sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed about taking out the bit about fraud, though. You know,
Okay.
just an observation.
It would really be helpful if we were sharing screen on this.
I finally got it on mine. Yeah.
Let me see if I can do it. Bear with me. Bear with me.
Yes,
You can see it?
Yep.
There it is.
yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you for the suggestion, Susan. Ah! Okay, I'm gonna bring it right. I'm sorry to make your eyes go crazy, but I'm bringing it up. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through very slowly, okay? Tell me if I'm going too fast, if you want me to stop on anything. Okay, this is page 2. Good.
There's the page number, yay.
And here's page 3, which is more food related information, important, more food information, important, and then important insurance information, more of that.
Mhm.
And we have the Medicare Patrol equipment loan, which then goes back up to the top of the page, okay? And then more about equipment. Then we have the Happy Feet and more information about resources. So we have LifePath and the community action equipment, home thing, Alzheimer's, Valley Eye Radio, fitness, our how to prepare for a medical emergency document, and then the end page.
You know, back there where you've got the information on life paths, the home adjustments that life path will make, right,
Yeah.
this one. I
Yeah,
mean, that would also be a place where you could stick in a sentence that's saying for members, village neighbors will provide free home repairs for these
Well,
and other.
these aren't repairs though.
Right. I'm
Okay.
reluctant to mix village neighbors in.
Okay,
I just feel like they have their section and,
okay.
because we're trying to, this is specific to this special home modification program,
Mhm.
because that's the focus of this one, is so people would go there and get, call and get their information about this program.
I'm wondering, can you go back to the not bread alone?
Yep,
Um,
which is
Under meals.
keep going, keep going, keep going. There we go.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'm wondering if that specific piece is as pertinent to people as the Amherst Survival Center. It's kind of a duplicate. And again, people would have to be driven down or drive down to access this. It's
Well,
more of an Amherst thing. I don't know. If we're looking to cut something, because the Amherst Survival Center does the same things. They have
No, that's the problem.
Right.
They do not do anything on Wednesday
Or the weekend.
okay.
or the weekend. And that's why Craig's Doors asked the UU Society to do a Wednesday breakfast, and Not Bread Alone is doing a Wednesday supper. because
Okay.
there are no meals at the Amherst Survival Center on Wednesday.
On Wednesdays, okay.
And I agree about the driving, but if people are in need, then, we need to tell them where they can get meals because we don't have anything like that here.
Great, okay.
And there's the article right below it on the UU's breakfast. And so I think we should have, we can't include one and cut the other.
And they both provide a need on Wednesday where there is no other free meal.
Mm-hmm.
One's a breakfast and one's a supper. They don't get lunch, but in fact, I know that people at the UU one, they can bag up food and take it with them, just as they can at Nut Bread Alone afterwards, so they can make a lunch out of leftovers. So that's why those two programs kind of exist, because the Amherst Survival Center has a gap.
Okay. Thank you for pointing that out.
I mean, this is Martha. Is it worth, well, is it worth in terms of when you talk about village neighbors, that, people, rides are available to these locations too?
Good point.
Well, presumably. I must also say, I talked to someone who's a driver for Village Neighbors Med Ride, and they're stretched out,
Yep.
Yep.
which is why I was kind of worrying about emphasizing them over Life Path.
Well, sounds like they're both stressed out.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out where I can put rides to get to these meal programs, and I don't really know how to do it gracefully.
Well, since the rides are from Village Neighbors for members, I mean, it would make sense to put it under Village Neighbors, yes?
I'm going there right now, so sorry about the speedy.
Pick up groceries. I'm writing down what we said before.
So we could skip, sorry, I'm sorry to blurt out, but to make more room, we don't have to say, I mean, I know Village Neighbors covers Leverett, New Salem and Wendell, but we're only in Shutesbury. So we could, I don't know if we could if that's possible,
Right.
to give us more room.
I agree. Why do you need to give them a big intro? Village Neighbors, membership's free. It offers these services, rides to medical appointments, rides to access food, small home repairs. And then how to become information as to how you can join or become a member or volunteer. What's a thought?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to add text to several things, we could consider cutting out the last thing, the medical emergency thing, because we did run that in the R-Town, and that would give enough room to enhance some of the things without, so Janice would have more space to play with.
Well, you're creating a nightmare in a way.
Right.
I know.
Because I had 7 pages worth of stuff. And so you would wanted yours in if possible, this thing, medical emergency stuff. And if it filled the blank page.
Yeah.
Okay.
To take it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I know
we have
It
to.
fits there so nicely. Yeah.
If you imagine the 11 by 17 sheet of paper gives us 4 pages. And so the second sheet gives us 4. So that makes the 8, which is why Janice is, we have to keep it that way. It helps with
Yes,
ease
okay.
of printing, and, it just gets folded in half and the machine does it, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
I should be able to get this to work somehow. I can't. I can't go higher than the middle of the last page, the one that has the address label on it. So I can't have copy go up higher than where it is, really.
Right.
So that's
Right.
why adding all this stuff to Village Neighbors makes me a little nervous. I
Yeah,
can
'cause
go a
that's-
tiny bit higher,
Yeah.
but not much.
Can we cut anything from the Council on Aging column? I suppose not. Or can we put it closer together, the information closer together?
If we take out if we simplify it, like Martha said, the Village Neighbors, I think it might work. And if we change the column size of the Council on Aging, that would, I don't know, I guess it wouldn't matter on this page because but it would, you can't, never mind,
Well,
cancel that.
we could run the members together. You know what I'm saying? Not have a separate line for each person's name, but run them together.
Gray here, we could also take all the contact information and make that one paragraph.
Mhm.
So what we would end up doing on that page is Village Neighbors would go down to the bottom of that column and then continue at the top about where the Council on Aging thing starts, and then Council on Aging would sort of be this little box in the corner
Right,
on
you
the
could,
right side.
so, right, you could condense us up quite a bit.
Yes.
Yes, good idea. Yay.
So this is Janice speaking. I think we've covered it all. And the question is now what? Do I send this out again? Do we need to meet to approve it? When do I get this new paragraph? This won't take that long to do now that I know what you want me to do, but I don't know what the next step in terms of bureaucracy and open meeting law is.
Technical question. Are you done with the Zoom, with the sharing? Everybody?
Yes.
Okay. There. Okay. So first thing, Joanne and Susan, your timing on your bit.
Tomorrow morning, Susan.
Yep, after my yoga class, which is 9 to 10.
Okay.
You want to
After-
call me? You want me to call you? Oh, we're going to email?
Yeah, we'll email it or after you
Okay.
get home. Okay. Are you assuming?
I'm at home.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that's that piece, Janice. And my observation is that the rest is all, you know, your editorial arrangements,
Mhm.
you know, and fixing the content for Village Neighbors. And if everyone is all good, once you're ready, I guess you would want a proof. Right?
I'm trying to remember how we've done it.
Well,
We
okay.
haven't signed off on a proof in a long time.
Well, I was just thinking about how we do it with our town is
Right.
you send it to me and I read through and then we can convene about any.
Oh,
thing.
that kind of a proof. Okay,
That
proof
kind of
from
a-
something else in publishing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know what that. I call it.
Okay, proofreading.
Proofreading. Yes, proofreading. I was using a short word, short, anyway. So any one of us could be that person. And then once it's set, you would send it to me and then I will proceed with, if everybody's good and you're okay with me doing it, then I would use my, put my town administrative secretary, council on aging hats on and send it off to be printed and prepared for mailing.
Mhm.
And then also, anyway, then I can give, after we do that, I'll give you a report on the mailing list. So, everybody good with that plan?
Yes, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
who would like to be the proofreader?
Why don't you do it, Linda? And then it'll be right in, you can just do it right off to the printer.
I'm happy to do that.
She's proofread our town for years.
Yeah, yeah, so she's appropriate
Although I
person.
must say Martha had a good eye last night.
Yes, yes, yep. So,
Mrs. Gomberg, I'd like to add one thing under the Council on Aging. Besides the co-chairs and the secretary, how about putting editor after Janice's name?
nice idea.
But she's more than that, though.
Yes,
So
but she
editor of
is,
this newsletter?
I'm not looking to get credit for this. The old
Yeah.
one had Sally's name at the bottom as the editor with her contact information. I felt a little weird deleting that.
Mm,
why would
Yeah,
people
fine.
want to contact the editor? Excuse me, why would people want to contact the editor?
I don't know, it was there from the beginning.
yeah, it was there from the beginning because Sally was, really active and, she was interviewing various people.
Right.
So it was a different time.
And Janice speaking, again, I apologize, I continue to forget to identify myself for the audio. The other thing is that I think she might have been hoping people would solicit ideas.
Mhm.
Rather, she was soliciting ideas, please contact me if there's something you want to see written about. This was
Sure.
long before I ever got involved.
Yeah.
I don't need my name on this as an editor.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So that's the plan. Susan M. and Joanne will get their piece together and get it to Janice. And then when Janice is ready, she'll send it to me. I'll proofread and then we'll send it off.
Okay.
And the mailing list with Joanne's work and then my work went from 767 down to 517 by combining. And
Right.
yeah, so it was a
And
big project.
thank Linda for going over it and over it and over it to do that. Obviously made more difficult by the fact that a lot of people are not changing their last names now when they get married. So
So anyway, yes, gratefully, address search was, the key. And I expect that when I send this list to Ken Adams at Adams Direct Mail, that when he runs it through the software, which he's required to do by USPS, that he will send me back some, bad addresses, because there are some people on the list that I don't think actually live here anymore, but I don't know for sure because they're not property owners, so I can't check. But this is the list that Grace had as of the end of June, so we'll see what happens. But I think I can't remember exactly, but I think we were around 500 when we were doing it ourselves.
I think so, yes.
So pretty good. Anyway, so there it is. Phew. All right.
Okay.
thank you all for doing that, the two of you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome. And I'm really, thanks to Joanne because I was feeling like, oh, how are we going to get this done? But we did.
The perks of being retired.
All right. So are we ready to move on?
We are.
Janice, are you good?
Yep.
Okay.
I've collated and stapled and highlighted and, hopefully I'll remember what we're doing.
Okay, so the next item I put on the agenda was nutritional support programs, which we obviously have covered in depth in our newsletter. And so I wondered if we wanted to put out a town announce about any of them or not. Again, the people that, as Joanne has reminded us, that not everybody gets the town announces. So I don't know, just whether we want to do something or, just let it be in as it comes out in our newsletter.
This is Joanne. I don't think it would hurt to put out a town announce about the farm to home program, because
Right.
when I talked to the coordinator of that, and I was trying to get how many actual slots Shutesbury had. Apparently each town was given a number of slots. And some of them are full and some of them are not full. Shutesbury had, she said, a couple of people in the pipeline who have put in their applications, but they were waiting for signature pages. And we could have 3 to 4 more people from Shutesbury in this program. But at a certain point, they're going to start just doing first come, first served on the available leftover slots. So if we don't get this information out quickly, people may miss the opportunity. And the fact that it's going on through March of next year, I think is great, because it will end up being, fall and winter crops as well as summer crops. They were a little late getting started. Anyway, so I think and I know you put it out before, but
Yeah.
Which is where the initial people got their information, but I think it wouldn't hurt to put it out again.
Okay, will do. Susan M.
Yeah, Millinger here to ask Joanne. So Joanne, are you saying that at the end of this deal, LifePath will open it up to people from all towns for vacant slots?
Yes.
They won't. Oh my.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're all good with this, if everybody's good, I will go ahead and put out a town announce about the farm.
Jack Gray here. I updated our website version of it yesterday with
Oh,
it
thank
because
you.
of the urgency of this. So if you want to take a look at that first, you might borrow from that language, or you might not want to.
Thank you,
Okay.
Janice. Thanks. Susan G, you good?
I'm good. I don't, just a thought, would it be worthwhile putting the food information about the monthly food supplies and the weekly from the Amherst Survival Center, highlighting that more than the meals that are available? I believe it's what Marianne in the library helps, they deliver once a month.
Yeah, this may be problematic. This is Joanne. Because I talked to Marianne about that. They had, I think they had 4 people in the program. This is the once a month delivery from Amherst Survival Center. And they delivered the boxes to the library. And initially Marianne had enough volunteers to deliver the boxes then to the homes of the people. And then I think she said one person dropped out, one person passed away, and another family was moving away. So it was going to be down to one.
One volunteer.
No.
No, one
home?
family receiving
Okay.
the food. And then she said she couldn't find enough volunteers. So I think it was to make the delivery to receive the delivery at the library and to take it to the homes that were receiving it. When I talked to the person at Amherst Survival Center, Elizabeth, she said that on delivery day, they could deliver it to the home. But that the family would need to get in touch with her to set that up. So I'm wondering, secondarily, if we want to remove the name, Marianne's name and my name from the website as the people to contact, because what they really need to do is contact Elizabeth at the Amherst Survival Center, and she will do the application for them if they can't do it online, and they can ask to have it delivered to their homes directly. So that's a change coming up. I think Marianne is getting so maxed out with what she's doing with all the library building things, that she needs to be relieved of some of these peripheral things that she's taken on.
This is great here. I have the email that Marianne sent you that you forwarded to me if you want the details. But at the end, she says, I'd like to let the program go before winter. So let's not put it in the Council on Aging newsletter, which is why it's not in newsletter, but it's still on the website. And I was going to ask about that later.
Well, and then Linda brought up the pertinent fact that this is a co-sponsored program, so we can't just arbitrarily off it. You know, we need to talk to Marianne about and agree that we're going to not do this anymore. Susan,
Yeah, Susan M., did you have a?
My understanding is, because I've occasionally contributed when I've been Marianne really isn't running it any longer. She has somebody whose name I do not know in the community that's been actually contacting people, reminding, and I'm not on the list, so I don't get reminded about pickups. Are you on it, Martha?
I am. It's every other month, the orange bags for the, Jamie something or other. She's short. Anyhow, she's the one that does it. She and her husband. I asked her if she needed help, and she goes, we got it down to a science.
I think
Jamie
we're talking about two different things.
Jamie
those-
Dawson.
Those are the pickups from people within Shutesbury. I guess that's another thing.
You're talking about, Janice here, the collection of groceries within Shutesbury to take to the survival center. We're talking about something else.
Okay.
I understand that. Okay, I understand that, but I'm assuming that there's some kind of relationship, but maybe not.
Well,
I don't know that Marianne is, I don't know what kind of search Marianne has done to find some other people to A, run it, or B, find additional volunteers, although she just has one family now.
well, may I suggest that we invite Marianne to the next meeting so we can figure this out?
Yeah, and whether it's worth continuing it and to encourage to have it available for other people who might turn out to want it.
This is Gomberg. Recently, and that's within the last month or so, either on Shutesbury Next Door or as a town announced, there was something from Marianne talking about this and saying she needed more volunteers. But I remember something about you have to be able to lift 40 pounds or something like that.
It's a big box, yeah.
Right. I can no longer lift 40 pounds as I learned when I tried to do that with kitty litter. So I would have signed up, but I didn't because of the weight. But it was fairly recently that she was looking for volunteers.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now. Yeah.
Okay. So I like Joanne's suggestion of inviting Marianne to our September 14th meeting to talk about this program and see how we want to go forward. And yeah, okay. Are we good with this? Everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, got it. All right, and so we've got two things. One, I will use Janice's wording and put together a town announce regarding the farm to home program. And then we'll invite Marianne to the 14th to talk about the Amherst Survival Center program. Okie doke. And okay, so coming up is the Our Town. We're going to be we're going to have an Our Town newsletter coming out probably at the end of September, and articles are due on the 8th of September. And so would anyone, aside from Janice, it's excluded from this opportunity, like to write, Janice, you write?
Taking over this meeting, I'm sorry.
Pardon?
I feel like I'm the whole subject of this meeting, a lot of it.
No,
Yeah.
but I just meant,
Oh.
would anyone like to put together an article for the newsletter? For our town newsletter? It will be short because our newsletter is going to go out. So it could be just something about the newsletter having gone out and, drawing people to our website and, I don't know, something just short.
Maybe an interview with the police chief.
That would be long though, yes?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I guess maybe we can have that, hopefully have that for our next Gazette.
Except if she wants to do sand for seniors. Anyway, that's her problem.
Yeah.
Hopefully
yeah.
she'll write something for the art town.
Yeah. She receives an invitation. So, anybody? Okay, I guess not. All right, I'll do it.
Linda, I'll help you. My head is so wrapped up in this one. It's hard for me to think about
No,
it.
that's okay. It's going, my thinking is that it's going to be very short because we will have just put out our Gazette.
Right.
So I can do that. And then it's also time to think about our annual town report. And
Oh
that,
geez, we hate to bring that up in this meeting when poor
I
Janice.
know,
has
but
already been-
I just need it to be on the table because, this is me talking as administrative secretary. There is going to be a new person and, a new person as administrative secretary at some point. And so anyway, we don't have to decide on it now. I'm just, it needs to be on the table that needs to be written. And it does not have to be Janice.
Mhm. Is there a due date for the annual? town report?
I've asked that it be done by the end of November.
End of
Yeah,
November.
I have that information also, because I filed it.
Yeah. And,
I could forward it to all of you.
Well, I have to do one for cemetery commission. I might be willing to do one if Janice would proofread it.
Deal.
okay.
I have, yeah, then it's due by November 30th and it talks about what the goals are, the criteria that we strive for. If
Yeah.
anyone else wanted to see it, I could forward it to all of you.
Yeah.
But Susan
Okay.
M already has it, so.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again. Of course, I guess I could find it on the town website though, couldn't I? Easily enough.
No, but I can forward it.
They're not on the website?
The newsletters are, the
Annual
town
reports?
reports are on the website. I thought you meant the requirements.
I think I was talking about the annual report.
Oh, yes, they're on the website. Yes.
So not worry about it. I'll get it on the website.
We'll get, you mean the past
I'll
one?
look at it. I'll look at the last one.
Okay. But what Janice is talking about is that I send out an email with the formatting information, which you have.
I think you sent it to me for cemetery commission.
I did. Yes.
So it'll be the same, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then Joanne is going to tell us a bit about the EOEA annual report.
Martha, that's the Executive Officer of Elder Affairs, which is the Massachusetts umbrella. And the Mass Council on Aging comes under the EOEA. Last year they did it online, which was a first, and it was very easy to fill out. I shall do that again. I'll get the numbers of participants in all our fitness classes from Mary Ann. And all of you before gave me your participation hours. I would like to suggest this time, since I don't think people were really tracking very much, but I can give everyone basically 3 hours a month. 1.5 for the meeting time and 1.5 for preparation and other things, if that's okay with you. If you would prefer not, then you can go back and look at exactly what time you've put in and give me those numbers.
I spent more than 3 hours on the Gazette, I'll tell you that.
You have, yes.
So I'd like to just throw in a number at some point. for
Okay,
that.
okay, please.
Yes, and we spent, well, are we collecting numbers for FY '22?
Yes,
Oh, right, never mind.
Okay, yeah.
okay,
Good point.
But it's, Janice, you've got annual report last year.
right.
Yeah, and I think I did actually write down what I spent because I have a log, but I got confused about what chemo brain, okay, sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so if
never
people
mind.
would like to give me their hours, then what they have actually done for FY '22, I'd be happy to put those hours in the annual report.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
And then so our hours and then the number of participants in all the programs. So Susan Gomberg, the number of foot clinic people, I'll get from Marianne, the fitness people. Yes, Linda.
I'll have the foot clinic numbers because they're listed on the invoices.
Okay,
Unlike before, when we were in person, Susan Gomberg would have that at her fingertips, but we have to reference the invoices for the numbers.
okay, good.
Okay.
Linda.
And
Yeah.
it was the form was fairly easy to fill out. So, but it didn't even happen until November last year.
Okay. So, Joanne, may I ask if I'll put it on the agenda again, so you can
Yes.
remind us again,
Okay,
in case,
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody needs to remember to include their time on the, the training we've done, the training on,
right.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
Oh, I didn't
Jelly,
keep track.
LGBT.
Your
Yeah.
trainings, and there were some
plus.
actual meetings. Did people go physically to meetings? Some people did, I think.
I don't think so, but there was also, okay, I did the,
The HIPAA?
Yeah,
I did the training on.
I did one
that was-
physical one.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay,
Oh, that's right. You did some meetings with Noor. Maybe I
Right.
did too.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
geez.
Yeah, we did. And we had our, our survey mailing too. So,
Yeah, so we've got a lot of hours there.
so we,
Okay.
I think we are not doing much when you start to think about it.
Right, thank you. I'm sorry, I had a bad medical year, so I wasn't participating as much as the rest of you, so. So please give me your hours.
Okay, we will. Okay, so the next topic is membership. And as we talked last week, I can speak for all of us that we're delighted to have Martha with us. And, we're interested to know your thoughts about possibly becoming a member.
I would be happy to be a member.
Ooh,
Yay!
Yay! Yay! Okay, all right. So do you have any questions for us at this point, Martha?
No, I mean, you answered that one in regards to, I was just curious about the phone number. No, I'm sure I will as it goes along. So is there always a set number of people? Do you hope to have like 6 people on the committee? Or does it expand? Contract?
Our bylaw was changed several years ago from 5 to 7 members. So
Oh, okay.
so we have 6, we will still have another vacancy. And we're delighted. So then the next step is for us to vote to recommend Martha's appointment to the select board. So would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Gomberg, so moved. This is, yes, Gomberg seconds.
Oh, sorry, Millinger moved.
Yes. Any, would anyone like to add anything at this point?
No,
Right.
not officially.
Let's, go ahead.
So Bernhardt, aye.
Gomberg, aye.
Gray, I.
Millinger, aye.
And Scott, aye. All right, yay,
Yay.
yay. So I will make myself a note to write to the select board to ask, request, can't speak anymore, ask the select board to appoint Martha. And so then once that happens, Martha, you'll receive an appointment letter from the select board, and that will outline what you would contact the town clerk to be sworn in. And
Okay, all right.
yes,
And is it for like 2 years? How does that,
we
Or is it
have,
just-
let's see, we have 3-year terms, and you'll be filling a vacancy. Let me just look. You will be filling a vacancy that, well, they're 3-year terms, and so you can fill a vacancy that is for a full 3 years, or we have one that is a 2-year term, that has 2 years remaining, but we could put you on the 3-year one.
all right. Now, so is that something that's decided now or when,
That's really, I guess that's up to us, if we would like to appoint Martha for 3 years or for the 2-year vacancy. The 3-year vacancy or the 2-year vacancy. Any thoughts? Do you have an opinion? Do you have a preference, Martha?
I guess I'd prefer, I'll do the 2-year, and then, I mean, you can certainly re-up again, can't you?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Most of us just keep re-upping. Okay, all right, so we'll ask for the 2-year vacancy. It's just that on that particular term, 1 year has already expired.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so.
And, on that note, I need to leave early. I have a birthday celebration I have to attend.
Okay,
Okay, well, thank you so much.
thank
Oh, you're
you.
welcome.
Being with us and being, willing to be a member. It's great.
I think it'll be great. And good to work with all of you.
Nice to see you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Okay,
Next meeting
bye.
is the 14th of September.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, anything else?
Janice, when you looked at the website before, did you take Melissa's name off?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to make sure I'm going to make these changes to the newsletter, and forgive me for being kind of stupid right now. I'm
No, no.
sending them to Linda to proofread, not to Susan. That's Susan's for the annual report. She's going to have me proofread. Okay.
Right.
All right. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm sending stuff to, because I've got notes that are all scattered all over the place here. So, okay.
Okay. Yes, and I'm writing I have to write notes too, so I know what I'm supposed to do after the fact. So I did put transportation as a future agenda item, maybe for our next meeting to talk a little bit about, we were hoping that Jeanette would come and give us some more information on what she knows about the regional transit authorities availability. So hopefully maybe she'll come the next time and be able to tell us about that. So.
Okay, and has there been, I know in our last meeting when Elizabeth Fernandez O'Brien was here, there was a request about a part-time person for Village Neighbors Councils on Aging, and Linda said they would send a job description, but I don't think that's arrived yet. Okay.
And we haven't received anything formal from them because, you know, it seems like that's what we would need to even, you know, to have any further conversation would be to have something, you know, a description of a job description, so to speak.
Okay.
So we haven't heard anything further on that. So that would be another piece. Okay. Well, we really did a lot this evening. If anybody have anything else? Because
Just in a postscript, Mrs.
Yeah.
Millinger, in terms of transportation, I noticed when I was looking through the MCOA's conference that there were several references to recent research that shows that most seniors drive 7 to 10 years longer than is safe,
wow.
which is really, you know, and you can see somebody living in Shutesbury wanting to hold on to their car license as long as they can. And that means it's really important for us. That makes it more important for us to come up with some transportation. And I'm thinking Village Neighbors and thinking aging, friendly communities, not just us, period. Us as Shutesbury, that would be too much for us.
Okay, so that's an part of
Good
the
point.
transportation conversation. Susan Gomber?
Oh, I just said that's a good point, a really good point. Since it's, you know, 7 to 10 miles for anybody in Shutesbury to get down to a grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh, okay. So shall we adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting at 6:54 p.m.
Hamburg, I second.
Okay.
Bernhard, aye.
Hamburg, aye.
Ray, I.
Millinger, aye.
And Scott, aye. Okay. Thanks, everybody. That's so good.
Thank
You
you.
all enjoy the
Thank-
cooler weather coming.
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
yes.
Yes.
Already.
Yes. Yahoo.
True. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye. Good night. Thanks.
Janice, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thanks for your support.